One Eco T5 unit will be given away in this video thanks to SWELL Reptiles.
We've got our hands on the all-new Reptile Systems Eco T5 unit. This is one of their new range to do with the Ferguson zones and the UVR. We're going to be doing a full review on it and giving one away to one of you guys out there. So we're going to cover this under 5 topics. We're going to go through the unboxing, what's in the box, the cost and availability of this. Is this really cheaper than buying all the bits separately? Then we'll get on to the pros, and then we're going to do some testing. That's then going to turn up, or potentially turn up some more cons. So we'll leave the cons till the very end. Somewhere throughout the video, I don't know where I'm going to drop it, but we're going to be giving away one of these to one of you guys out there, courtesy of SWELL Reptiles. So firstly, straight look at the box. Now this is part of the new range to do with Reptile Systems. So it's pushing more towards the Ferguson zones and the UVI rating rather than your UVB percentage and all that sort of stuff. This is a complete unit. So you've got the whole reflector, the unit, the plug, the UVI lamp, everything is inside this one box. Let's have a quick look at the packaging. First of all, it comes in 3 sizes. So you've got your, I think, 24 watt, which is the small one, 39, which is the medium one, which this one is, and then you've got 54, which is the big daddy, I call them. I've got Ferguson Zone 1. That's the blue packaging that you can see. That's Ferguson Zone 1.
And you can also get Ferguson Zone 2 and Ferguson Zone 3 in all 3 sizes.
Basically it says the UVI lamp that's inside this with this reflector will give you a UVI rating of Zone 1 on the Ferguson scale. I have done a video for Reptile Systems launching all their new products and stuff. I'll link that video just up there. But this is part of the new range. So the percentage system is getting faded out in favour of this, the Ferguson zones and the UVI ratings, because that's just a better way of doing the lighting for our animals. If you want to create the proper sunlight for the animals, you go down the line of UVI, which is the ultraviolet index. The ultraviolet index incorporates all things to do with the ultraviolet. So your ultraviolet A, your ultraviolet B, all under one number. It's a measurable number, so we can measure it. I've got a solar meter here, which is what I'm going to actually be measuring with this shortly through the video. So there is 3 different zones for this particular product, same with all of them. Ferguson Zone 1, Ferguson Zone 2, Ferguson Zone 3. If you want to learn a little bit more about Ferguson zones and all that sort of stuff, there is links in the description to do with the Ferguson zones, and you can check it out more in detail yourself. Ferguson Zone 1 is aimed at more ecopustulant species, and with this lamp, with this reflector, it will give you a UVI of 1.8 at 30 centimetres. Now you can go as high as 50 centimetres, and then it will give you a UVI of 1. It's all on the box, just there, in clear English. With the Eco T5 unit, it will give you a UVI of 1.8 over 30 centimetres and 1 over 50 centimetres. So it gives you the correct UVI for your particular species that's in the Zone 1 range. On your Zone 2, which is sort of your occasional basking species, so your royal pythons, your Asian water dragons, all those sorts of things, with this lamp in a Zone 2, at 30 centimetres, you can get a UVI of 2.9. At 50 centimetres, it's 1.2. So it can fit perfectly within the parameters of the Ferguson Zone 2. Again, with Zone 3, you can go 30 centimetres and it'll give you a UVI of 5.6. At 50 centimetres, it'll give you a UVI of 2.2. So again, it fits perfectly within that Zone 3 parameters. Zone 3 is your bearded dragons, your panther chameleons, your green anoles, all that sort of stuff. It all fits into Zone 3. So like I say, on the box, we've got the distance away from the actual head of the animal, and it'll give you the UVI rating. So I want to test that a bit later. I'm also going to test it on the Reptibreeze and an Exoterra enclosure, so that we can truly get a good idea of how much that mesh, the 2 different mesh tops actually do reduce the lighting. Further down the box, just here, you can see this colourful graph here. That explains the Ferguson zones to you and what animals go in what Ferguson zones. Just a brief description just there. But it's nice they've put that on the box, because it's going to start educating the people that are less educated on UVI and the Ferguson zones. Down here is what you've got in the box. You've also got a QR code in the actual box here. You can scan that with your QR reader on your phone, and it'll take you to a website that explains everything a little bit more in detail. And it's everything you could possibly want with a cute leopard gecko on the box. Let's get it open and see what's actually inside the box. I really do appreciate the way this is going more in towards the UVI rating. We can really properly get the proper sunlight for our animals, which is absolutely vital with them, helps their body synthesize vitamin D3. Oh, let's still something stuck inside. There we go. Oh, here we go. The UVI lamp itself. And I'll run through that in a second as well. And the actual unit itself. There are some massive benefits with this unit that I'll go through in a second. So, what comes in the box? We have got, right here, we've got the clips, the clamps with the screws, and an extension cable. That extension cable is so that you can plug 2 or 3 of these in together, so you can have quite a few inside the enclosure if you need be. There's the little, see the hole up there? You can plug it into there. The cable will go around to another one, plug into another unit, or you can have them going between a couple of vivs. They do recommend only 2 or 3 together at most. Now, with this unit, I like this bit. The UVI power is judged on how clean your reflector is. So with this one, you can physically take the reflector out of the unit and give it a clean. It just simply clips straight back onto the unit, just like so. Clip. Absolutely perfect. Now that is extremely handy. You've got another plug in this little wrapper here, and that's just to butt on onto the end, just there, so you can fit a couple of these right next to each other and just run them both off the one plug. Down here, we've got the plug cable. Notice there's no big ballast box, there's no nothing like that. You've got your plug. This one is a UK plug. This is going to be available all over the world eventually, so it's going to have all the different plugs on it. We've got the adapter that goes into the actual unit itself, and we've got a simple on-off switch. Me personally, I'm going to have this rigged up to a plug socket timer, so I can just set the times on and off, because this is going to be set up in my big bioactive leopard gecko build eventually. If you want to see that build, that is coming out soon. It is getting produced at the moment. Make sure you do hit the subscribe button. And then on top of that, we've got this instruction booklet. I always recommend reading the instructions, but let's face it, we all know the men aren't going to read it, because the men don't read that sort of stuff. A few different languages. We've got a load of safety instructions, installation instructions, lamp installations, which is this stuff, the unit fixings, fixing that up, and it's got the warranty. This product is guaranteed in compliance to the European directive, as free from faults, both material and workmanship, for a period of 24 months. A 24-month warranty on this to do with internal faults and manufacturing faults. That's just absolutely amazing. But it's got loads of pictures and diagrams in there as well. I love the fact that when you do get anything Reptile Systems, they do go all out with all their stuff. The actual T5 lamps themselves, let's get this open because there's a few little things on here. First of all, on the box, again, we've got the big graph up there which gives you the rating of how far away from the animal to what UVI you're likely to actually achieve. Now you'll notice on here it says at 30 centimetres with a reflector, which is this, it's only a 1. But yet on the box itself for the unit, it says a UVI of 1.8. And I asked him about that. I said, well, why? And he said, because this reflector has got a bit more of an arch on it. The UVI rays bounce and bounce and give it a better beam, a much more powerful beam. These were tested on your standard clip-on reflectors that can just be purchased from anywhere else, here, there and everywhere. But that is a proper manufactured reflector to give you a bit more of an intense light. So that's why the ratings are different. But again, you've got your UVI zone, Ferguson zones just down here. You've got Ferguson zone 1. Now there is a percentage on this box, there is a percentage on this box. However, that percentage is going to be going. That's just to help with the transition between going from percentage, which is an unmeasurable source. You can't really measure if that percentage is good enough for your animals. I can, I've got a solar meter. But for the general purpose, I mean, that's 300 quid. You don't, the general Joe public can't do that. With this, it gives you all the instructions and everything to achieve the correct UVI for your desired species. The bulb itself is your standard T5 bulb by Reptile Systems. Let's start putting this together then, just so we can see how easy it is. Get the lamp in. Now this is the simple part that I like. You've got your 2 little pins just there. They both face upright. You just slot them straight in, like that, and give it a quarter of a turn. Being careful, because obviously, boof, sorted, done, dusted. And it's literally a case of just plug it in. Whoosh. And plug it in. Fingers crossed, all being well, it should just Luke, I am your father. So, right, let's get this turned off and let's talk cost and availability. So you can pick up the 24 watt version of this, which is the slightly smaller version, and that works out at £58.49p. Hold on a second, I've got something to share at the end of this bit. This one, which is the 39, that's £62.99, and then the bigger one, the 54 watt, that's £67.49. Now those prices are based on SWELL Reptiles. However, SWELL Reptiles have been nice enough to give us a 10% discount code. That'll all be in the description and pinned to the first comment. I'll add the link there so that you can go straight over, check them out yourselves, and the 10% discount code. As stated in the intro, we are actually giving away one of these, and that's now. This video is sponsored by SWELL Reptiles. SWELL Reptiles, they're an online superstore for all of your reptile needs. The joy with SWELL Reptiles is they can buy in bulk and be able to sell it to you at a slightly reduced price. You can go through any different online superstore for reptile related things, and you normally find SWELL is one of the most reduced price, but you're still getting the actual product. SWELL Reptiles also do their own brand of various bits and bobs. Not so long ago you saw me unboxing one of their drinking fountains, which will be going in my big Repti Breeze for Mushu. You've also seen, I've got a fogger system which I've got to open and test out. Leopard Gecko, even she uses a load of SWELL Reptiles own branded products. So do I. It's all good quality stuff. We have one of these to give away, either Zone 1, Zone 2, Zone 3, whichever one you prefer to, well, whichever one you require really. All you simply have to do is like this video and leave a comment down in the description telling me your true, honest thoughts on this, the new Ferguson zones, the new UVI ratings, and how it's pushing away from the traditional UVB percentage, creating the proper sunlight for your animal. Once again, we just want to thank SWELL Reptiles for sponsoring this video. Let's carry on. Now compare this to buying every little bit separately. So if you bought a ballast, they're £25. Sorry if I'm looking over there a bit, I've got it written down. The ballast itself, that's the big box, the chunky box, £25. The reflector, £17. The bulb, £20. So it does work out cheaper. They are all based on the 24 watts, so it does work out cheaper to go this way. Now they have called this Eco, but not because of the price and stuff like that. They've called it Eco because it's the baby version of the 25 Luminaire. I'm like an Avon rep for that 25 Luminaire because I absolutely love it. That's what my bearded dragon's got way down there. Now you can set a sunrise, then that higher midday sort of UVI output that a bearded dragon would naturally have in the wild, and then a sunset to it as well. And it's just absolutely amazing. It has got a price of around about £129 on that one. So this one just being £58 really does reflect the eco part of it, which I highly like. So let's move over to the pros of this particular product. I love how just neat and tidy it is. It's just going to sit clipped into either the roof of your enclosure, which is what I'm going to use with the mounting brackets that are provided with it. Just clipped it in, perfectly fine. Once it's clipped in, I can easily just change the bulb out. Boof, just like that. I can take the reflector off, just like that, and that unit will always just stay in there. If I wanted to add another unit, I've got all the cables and the clips provided to be able to do that, which is just the usability of this is mind-blowing. They've really gone above and beyond for the actual usability of it, and the maintenance, because you can get that off and clean it. I love all of the actual information that's on the packaging to do with the UVI, to do with the Ferguson zones, to do with all the distance away from everything. Now, nowhere on any of this packaging does it give you a UVI reading for a Repti Breeze going through that mesh, because the mesh on Repti Breezes and Exoterras generally reduce lighting by between 30 and 50% on all manner of lighting. So I'm going to test them and just have a little play and see what's what with them. I also love the instructions that come with it because it's got absolutely everything bullet pointed there in multiple different languages, so that it's just easy to understand. It takes 5 minutes to read your instructions. It's worth doing. And I love the fact that with all of Reptile Systems products, you can go onto their social media, whether it be their Instagram, their Facebook, you can send them a message. If you don't have to wait long for a reply back, they do get back to you fairly quickly. Even if they've always said to me, no question is too stupid. So it's definitely worth, if you do have a question, go and follow them on their social medias. So shall we get over to do some testing? Let's put it back together first, see how easy it actually is. First things first, the reflector. That just, from what I can make out, clips on. Just, wow. Just like that. Let's put the bulb there nice and safe. Perfect. Now the bulb, line it up just like that. Clipped, done. How easy is that? So the equipment I'm using to test is my solar meter. If we have a look on the back just there, it is the 6.5R, which is the sort of most modern, up-to-date sort of one. What we do, we put this underneath the lamp and then we press the button. Whatever reading comes up on that screen is the UVI. It's called a solar meter. They are quite expensive, but they are linked in the description down below. So here we go, a little bit rudimentary because I'm just holding the camera. We've got the light unit set up here, really sort of dodgily, as you can tell. But that gives me exactly 30 centimeters from the sensor on the top of the actual, let's lower it down, there we go. 30 centimeters from the sensor at the top of the actual solar meter, all the way up to the top of the light unit. So we know we've got 30 centimeters from there. All we have to simply do is push the button and hope we get a UVI at 30 centimeters at 1.8. Ooh, boof. Boom. How cool is that? 1.7, 1.8, absolutely perfect. Now we've hired it up, we've stuck a cage on that side to hire it up and another box there. So we are a lot higher now. We are, lower it down, there we go. Right, we are exactly 50 centimeters now from the sensor. There you go, there's 40 centimeters, there's 50 centimeters. We're at the top. So let's have a look. 50 centimeters is a UVI of 1. So press the button. Boom. Absolutely perfect. And this bulb has just gone on, so that's absolutely perfect. Should we try the Reptile breeze? There we go then. So I've set it up just up there. Now it's hard to get a tape measure and this and suspend it all nicely, so I've actually done a couple of marks. You can see that little mark there on the actual metal, just there. That's my 30 centimeter marker, so I'll put it dead level with the 30 centimeter marker underneath the actual lamp itself, going through the mesh. 1.1, 1.2, 50 centimeter marks there. Underneath the mark, 0.7. So what have we got then? We've got 1.1, 1.2, and 0.7, 0.8 at 50 centimeters. Now we've got an Exoterra. It's sat on top of the Exoterra. Now the mesh on the top of this Exoterra is not rusty, because with the modern day Exoterras they have addressed that problem. Solar meter, 30 centimeters. There's the end of the ruler. This is quite tricky, but let's have a go. So put it on the mesh all the way up there and down there, 30 centimeters, 1.2. So there we go, all tested absolutely perfectly fine. Every detail that was on that UVI rating for the Eco unit for the Zone 1 has been perfect to what they've said it would be. It's never been tested on a Reptile Breeze or an Exoterra before, so quite frankly, a 30 to 35% loss through the mesh, which is completely normal, absolutely completely normal. I know what I want to do. I've got this. This is just a random thought right now. I didn't know that I'd be doing this. This is the new Arcadia Light Guard Pro, but its statement's there, 15% light reduction. So let's set it up and see what happens. Again, it's going to be very, very rudimentary. I'm just going to stick it off the end of the Exoterra just like that. I'm going to whack it inside just like that. I'm actually going to pull it over a bit more if I can without it falling. I'm going to turn it on, boof, just like that. I'm going to get my solar meter and my tape measure and go back to it. I know, very rudimentary, it's just sat in there, light's coming through the grid there. So a 15% light reduction at 1.8 would be around about between 1.6 and 1.7. So we'll have a look, shall we? Put the tape measure up there, move it down to the actual meter. You can see there, 30 centimeters. Let's have a look and see what it does. Hold on a second, is that 1.1, 1.2, 1.1? was a surprise. Again, 35% loss of light, or a 35% of UVI through that Arcadia light guard when it advertises a 15%. That's more than double what it actually states. That's why I'm not a massive Arcadia fan, because they just advertise stuff for marketing purposes. Granted, like I've just said, I've just measured UVI, not visible light. So I mean, there might be a difference there, but why advertise and confuse people on that respect? You use one of them, you're not going to be getting the correct... Yeah, right, I'm not going into that. Shall we move? Now we've done the testing. I like that testing. That was fun. We'll have to do more testing. If you've got any test ideas, whack it in the comment section down below. But let's move on to the cons with that unit, because there are a few. The first one is with this. Now, I know this is the same with every sort of light bar like this. The Arcadias are the same and all that sort of stuff. But this metal piece on the back... 95. Now, I mean, difference to the floor, 70, both 98. It does get a bit warm. I mean, you can still touch it, do you know what I mean? You can still touch it, but you do feel a bit of warmth. But then the next fault, it's not even a fault, but something I'd like. You can see this end. I would like some sort of reflective cap put over there, just to stop some of the light coming out. That's for my own personal benefits, really, but there is a bit of a gap there. And it's just normal, do you know what I mean? Every sort of company, every brand has this little gap. I'd just like to have it completely closed off so that all the rays are banging straight down into the unit, into like whatever enclosure you're actually using. That's just what I'd like. That's mainly for if it's going on top of a Reptile or an Exoterra. I mean, inside an enclosure, that doesn't really matter at all. But for on top of them, I'd like all the rays to just go straight down into the actual enclosure and not outwards a little bit. And then the final issue. Now, this isn't really an issue either, to be fair. I mean, none of these issues have been massive, have they? It's going to be a transition for people to get used to the Ferguson zones and the UVI. That's where I can see a little bit of a hiccup happening. There's going to be a lot of questions. There's going to be a lot of ifs, ands and buts of people that are a bit dubious of it and stuff like that. So I'm going to be doing a load of educational content to do with the Ferguson zones and UVI, every little benefit that this has. So now if you guys want any more testing done on any of those, if you have any questions whatsoever to do with the Ferguson zones, the UVI, that specific light unit, feel free to leave it in the comment section down below. Remember to enter the competition for the giveaway. Simply just leave a comment down there telling me your thoughts on all of this process. This is the only way we can measure the correct ultraviolet index for our specific species. UVB percentage, how do you know you're getting the right UVI for your animal out all the distances and stuff? This tells you everything, so that's why I highly like it. I'm going to leave some links in the description for where you can check these out, and thanks for tuning in, guys. Peace out.